up on the CHASIcast.
Can we just talk about the fact that Emma knows Latin?
We recount a remarkable journey undertaken by a crack team of CHASI researchers, knowledge mobilizers, and rat wranglers in search of the answers to some very important questions.
Is it normal to see mice in restaurants? Were we just seriously gaslit? I need to know.
Our fantastic voyage to Victoria, the fun and serious parts, on this episode of the CHASIcast.
I agree.
From UFE's Community Health and Social Innovation Hub, this is the CHASIcast, a program dedicated to bringing experts and insights to the issues that shape our lives, because words have to matter. Now substituting for Dr. Martha Dow, here's your host, Emma Holmes. Hello and welcome to the CHASIcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you don't know me already, I'm Emma Holmes, normally the producer around here and that strange voice you hear at the start and end of each episode, but today I'm taking a turn in the hot seat. I'm joined by four of my amazing colleagues here in the hub. If y'all would introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Frankie Fowle.
Hi, and I'm Lindsay Beaulieu.
Hi, I'm Miranda Erickson.
And I'm Carlana Thompson.
On this episode, we've got something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about a little trip we took with some of our other friends and coworkers over the UFE reading break this semester. Now, if you're a loyal reader of the UFE Today blog, you might have seen the post they wrote about our trip. If you haven't, well, here's a little audio clip that I think sums up the official reason pretty well.
Mr. Speaker, I'm thrilled to introduce 12 community leaders from home. Please join me in welcoming some members of the team from the University of the Fraser Valley's Community Health and Social Innovation Hub, which we call CHASI. The CHASI Hub was created to support all aspects of a healthy community. They achieve this goal through collaborative, multi-sectoral research and community engagement, and as a key strategic partner in the region, working to identify challenges and opportunities to improve individual and community health. And with us today are Martha Dow, Jeff Mio-Birch, Chelsea Klassen, Sharon Strauss, Emma Holmes, Miranda Erickson, Lindsay Beaulieu, Regan Smith, Carlana Thompson, Frankie Fowle, Imran Tatla, and Susan Meadkis. Please, will the House welcome them today? Thank you.
That was the Honourable Pam Alexis, MLA for Abbotsford Mission, BC's Minister of Agriculture and longtime friend of CHASI, who invited us all to the legislature in recognition of the work we do and the impact CHASI's made on the Fraser Valley community and beyond. Now, normally in an average CHASIcast episode, it's a bit of a one-on-one interview. Today, since there's 5 of us in all, we're throwing the script away. I know that some of you have some questions in mind. I'm going to turn it over here to Miranda because I know she's got plenty where that came from.
Thank you. Yeah, so one of the things that I was wondering was, what did we learn about how the province was run and how does that shape our understanding of the way that, BC handles things in the political process?
Well, I have to admit that I came into it with a little bit of a stacked deck because I'm a giant nerd and one of those things includes political science. So I came into the visit already having a pretty good working knowledge of how the system functioned. But I do have to admit that reading about question period and witnessing question period were two very, very different things. So if there's one thing that I came away with that I hadn't come in with, it was definitely that question period is incredibly, shall we say, exciting.
So just jumping off of that, it was really interesting seeing the debate in person. I know I've watched it on TV a few times, and they really cut out quite a bit of the intense back and forth. I was actually very surprised by just the level of passion that I saw, and definitely the pounding on the tables, which was super cool to witness in person, a little intimidating, but being so close to the action made me feel really inspired and made me want to get more involved in how things are run and have a say, that these people are trying to pursue what they think is the best path forward for BC. And I don't know, I'd always felt like there was a detachment there. Like, you elect these people, then you don't know what they're doing when they're in the legislature, and to actually see them doing their job was really cool.
Yeah, I was like super shocked to see kind of like the heckling that happens that you don't always get to hear on TV, and just the amount of it, and just trying to digest that, because I think in our minds, like, we have our leaders and we kind of put our leaders on a pedestal sometimes, and to see them like acting in that way really just kind of like, I was kind of taken aback by that.
I agree.
I think excellent contribution.
Reagan
Love that.
mentioned this.
I second.
Reagan mentioned this earlier during our tour. We are able to see some of the background. They have this like security room where they have all the cameras, and they showed us some of the footage. And so when we were in the gallery watching the question period, seeing them bang on tables and how they were responding to other speakers. We only see what the camera is showing us. So being in the gallery, we got to see so much more. It was really interesting.
The tour was also super fun. Shout out to Nicholas for one of the most entertaining experiences. It was really cool. We actually got to take a picture with Daryl Plekas, a near and dear friend to CHASI.
A picture with a picture.
A picture with a picture. It sounds like a meme. But it was really cool, and getting to know like the history and some of the insider details of the legislature were really cool experience.
And the windows.
The windows were fantastic. Very cool architecture in that building.
And they do open.
They do open.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a big part of our experience there as well. We were invited for question period, and as well we're given a tour by one of their amazing tour guides, Nicholas. He spent so much time with us, walking us through all sorts of rooms, discussing different important moments in history. I mean, we have a historian among us here at Carolina, and so she really enjoyed her time there, and we asked her lots of follow-up questions as well.
I would also like to shout out Emma for getting all of the questions right. Yeah. I did a few guesses, but she was really on top of the BC governance structure. Yeah. Not my specialty.
Can we just talk about the fact that Emma knows Latin?
Wow.
Like,
That also threw me.
I don't know much Latin, just like that one little bit. I know that, and I know the state slogan of Virginia, where I grew up too.
That's all you need to know.
So call Emma up if you're ever doing like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Yeah. Call up a friend.
Like an exorcism.
Or very niche topics.
Yeah, good party trick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could really exercise much of anyone, unless you're looking for me to like exercise, I don't know, a American Civil War general. Yeah. I might maybe have some luck there. I've been to Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. They probably need it, to be honest. Yeah. It's a demographic.
Like a YouTube video, like how they the beatbox. It's just an exercise.
I just have a question. I have a question for Emma. Emma, what stood out to you in your time when you were there? What was a highlight for you?
Well, I mean, there was our unexpected companion, but we'll get into that a little later. Mm-hmm. On a serious note, I think the thing that stood out to me the most was probably I think it was probably the more relaxed air than I would have expected. I think it's probably because I spent so much time living in the States. I'm used to thinking of like government buildings or what have you as being really, really tightly locked down. And granted, it's not like they were being particularly lax. I mean, they had metal detectors and security and all that jazz, but I don't know. It felt like a more lenient bunch than I would have expected. Well, maybe lenient's not the right word. Maybe easygoing. Easygoing is the word I'll go for there.
So stereotypically Canadian.
I suppose you could say that, yes. At least they weren't selling maple syrup in the gift shop. That might have been over the line.
Lindsay, what was your highlight?
I think for me, a highlight was the relationship building. So in November 2023, we had the privilege of having the Honorable Pam Alexis visit CHASI. And so she was able to see our space, meet all of the students here, and hear some of the work and the projects that we're doing in and for our community. And then fast forward to inviting us to the Legislative Assembly and inviting us into her space there. I thought was really cool. And so she gave us the great honor of being recognized for our work in collaboration that she has seen firsthand being in our space and reading our reports and asking us questions.
So what did it mean to you that CHASI got recognized at this level?
I think it's an incredible privilege and an incredible honor, of course. I think the work that CHASI does is extremely important, and maybe to an extent that people who aren't part of CHASI don't really realize. I don't know that I really realized until I started working with all you crazy people. So it's really gratifying to see that recognition, and not just that recognition in general, but to see it at a provincial level. I mean, that was practically the entire legislative assembly there, because our introduction happened to fall on budget day. So there were a lot of MLAs there to hear about what we do and how it's important. And I think even just beyond that, it's nice to know that all the hours and all the countless meetings and back and forth and crunch time and what have you really does add up to something meaningful in the end, beyond just another report to put on your resume when you graduate and go out into the quote-unquote real world. This is part of the real world.
It was also nice, like after we had come down from the gallery, there were actually other MLAs and ministers waiting to speak with us. And so it was really awesome to see that even just that short introduction sparked interest in what we do, and to have people come to us and ask more about what we do and how we do it and be genuinely interested. I don't know, it's nice to know that people like care about what we're doing here.
It was really a cool experience. Like, none of us do this for the recognition, but it was also a super cool experience to like have my family at home be able to watch that on TV. And also, like, a lot of these projects, like, we are acknowledged as a group, which is how we run CHASI, but it was also cool having our names read out individually, like having that individual recognition. Like, you don't often get that as a student RA. So I think that was a really cool experience to have across the board.
Yeah, and kind of to go off of that relationship building, and something that stood out to me or that was most encouraging happened on our way home. So we took one of the last ferries and we all sat together in a section in the cafe, and we had the Honorable Pam Alexis sit down and meet with us for, I think, more like 45 minutes to an hour, just asking the research assistants different questions about what research we're doing, what we're passionate about personally outside of the work that we do. And she just took a general and genuine interest in what we were doing and our aspirations in the future. We talked about grad school and some of the research that we do in and outside of CHASI. And I think to see a leader and a representative spend that kind of time and get that kind of face time was really incredible. And yeah, she didn't have to do that, but she chose to spend the time and kind of continue to invest in us in that way.
You know, on that note, because I am just recalling the separate conversation that I was having with Minister Alexis's, not exactly sure what her job title is, but Joe. Joe, if you're listening to this, the pasta was good, by the way, because I didn't have the chance to tell you. But on a serious note, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, even with that different conversation I was having, it was really gratifying to be able to have that discussion practically one-on-one. I mean, it was more two-on-two, but for an hour, and really to just, I mean, our conversation was a little more in the trenches, so to speak, but it was just very nice to have that direct connection, if you will. I think that's something that's kind of missing because of that point you made, that oftentimes we go and elect our representatives or what have you, and then kind of just end up disconnected from whatever it is they're doing, however many hundreds of kilometers you may live away from Victoria.
Yeah, and just like I said before, seeing them on the screen or only seeing one thing, and then to be sitting down face to face with this representative who, has come into our space, shared our space, continued to learn about the things we're doing in our community and invest in that way, I think was really incredible. Also, I wanted to note as well, I think, as a student here, to receive the support from the university for us to attend this trip was really important to me, and something that stood out. We obviously couldn't have gone without the support of CHASI and UFV.
Yeah, we absolutely have to give a shout out. I mean, not just to Martha and Chelsea, of course, for being the rat herders, for lack of a better term.
Rat wranglers.
Rat wranglers,
Dr. Martha Dow.
Yes, Dr. Martha Dow, the glorious rat wrangler and fearless leader of CHASI, and our normal hostess. It wouldn't be possible for CHASI to exist in the form that it is or do the things that it does in the form that it does without that level of institutional support. And for as much as our work oftentimes does revolve around speaking truth to power, sometimes that power is kind of a good friend too, if you let it be.
And also too, like, just a tremendous thank you to Pam Alexis and Joe, I guess Honorable Pam Alexis and Joe, for acknowledging, the work that we do here and seeing its value and placing value on us doing the work.
Yes.
And taking that time to get to know everybody here at CHASI. And I think that that's just such a strong sign of great leadership, is taking time and investing time in people who do the work that happens here at CHASI. And it just is very, like, it's almost inspiring to, like, hear that you're being recognized. And it just makes you want to get involved on that level in our community.
And to go off of that, it was really inspiring. Sometimes it can feel like politics is a very uninspiring place, for lack of better words, in terms of, seeing the world as it is and then wanting to change. And that's so much of what we do at CHASI, is seeing the world around us, seeing the communities, and really wanting to create those connections and to make the changes that they tell us that they need, and so that we can mobilize and we can be part of that. And that's been an amazing experience. Being recognized for that was also incredible, because it means that at the provincial level, people are recognizing and validating these community changes and recognizing the significance of this very sort of grassroots level work of, we want to engage with the partners who are directly engaged. And so we are directly engaged with the people who are going to be impacted and affected by the research that we do. And it's so incredible to be able to have that recognized, to have that level of community engagement recognized and applauded in the legislature. It was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, I know that time is ticking on here, but there is one question that I have to ask. It would be terrible if I didn't ask. We have to talk about the CHASI mouse.
Mice.
Mice,
There were two.
plural. There's two. Yeah.
Okay, well, the CHASI mice. We have to talk about the CHASI mice.
Yeah.
Well, our first run-in was at a local pub, as we were...
Which shall remain unnamed.
Exactly, which we will not name. And as we were ordering our food and just chatting away, we had a little visitor scurry along our feet and visit us. So that was...
So to build on Lindsay's underwhelming retelling of the event, so we see our little friend, Dr. Martha Dow, tries to bring this to the waitress's attention, trying to downplay it, assuming this might be some kind of crisis. And the waitress is just like, oh, yeah, that's pretty normal. What do you want me to do about it? And it was hard to come back from that moment.
Yeah, set the tone, yeah.
And I would actually like to add to that, love and respect to Victoria. It's a great city. But we, at that restaurant, which shall remain nameless, $28.50 for 4 chicken strips and an extra $4.50 for French fries. I know there's a cost of living crisis, but please work on that if you're going to have mice in your restaurant.
We need affordable chicken strips.
Yeah. Seconded.
Yeah.
And like, can we just talk about the mouse itself for a second? Like, that mouse was full of like tenacity, and like it didn't just scurry along. No. It hung around, and it lingered, and it was like, yeah, it would like pop its head out, and then come like, yeah, it was there a long time.
Yeah, this was not on the peripheral of the restaurant. We're talking like bench seats, middle of the restaurant. A little dicey, I'll say. And so we thought this would be a one-off event. And then last day, we encounter another mouse. More specifically, our beloved Sharon Strauss stepped on a mouse at another restaurant, separate restaurant, which will also remain unnamed. Possibly more horrifying than the first one because, yeah, she just stepped right on it. Poor little guy.
He did not suffer. He did not die. The mouse is still well. It just was a gentle little love tap with her foot.
He or she is still with us, or they.
They.
That's the magic of Soji. We have to think about the gender identity of mice now.
I'm always thinking about the gender identity of mice. Not just
Every day.
every day I wake up.
We support all mice.
Yeah.
I had a note back to Victoria that I made and I didn't mention, but that Honorable Pam Alexis, when she was the mayor of Mission, has just been a long time supporter of CHASI. Before we even opened our doors, she was supporting us and the goal of opening CHASI and has always valued the school and community connection.
I like how we've swung the serious talk to mice, and now we're swinging back to that.
Yeah, we're bringing it back to why we're here.
So back to the mice. Question for all you Victoria people. Is it normal to see mice in restaurants? Were we just seriously gaslit? I need to know.
Do you think it was the same mouse, or do you think that they were two different mice? Or were they related, or were they maybe lovers?
Were they brothers?
Let us know if Sharon Strauss should also do an interview about her encounter with the mouse. Yeah. I'd love to hear it
Episode
personally. Right. Follow-up episode.
Oh my goodness.
My name is Lindsay Beaulieu.
I'll be here all week. Actually, hopefully more than a week. But were there any other things that we
Anything
wanna...
else?
I'm not going to do any.
No more mice.
Mad Lib, no more mice.
Serious only.
Yeah, serious only. Okay. I also want to say that it was really a great bonding experience as a team. Like, we're often working on separate projects. So to be able to come together and celebrate all that we've achieved and all the work we've done was really great. So yeah, as everyone else said, like, thank you to UFE for supporting us in that. Thank you to Martha and Chelsea for putting everything together.
Dr. Martha Dow.
I'm sorry. I'm just so unserious. And like, it's such a great place to work and so many great coworkers. And it was cool to see everyone get acknowledged. And it was a great experience.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Honestly, that's going to be something that's going to stick with me. Well, we'll see about the rest of my life. Who knows where my memory might go as I get older, but it's definitely going to stick with me for a number of years. I just realized I took that in a very morbid direction. Point is, yeah, that was an incredibly memorable experience, and I am just so beyond grateful that I had the opportunity to be a part of it.
Yeah, like, these are not the kind of opportunities and experiences that I was expecting to get at any school that I would have gone to. But being able to have these trips and have these experiences, make these connections, engage in meaningful research that makes me feel like I'm a part of something so important and so vital to connection between community and university, but also for actually getting research off of the report and into the community. It's been incredible, and having that validation in the legislature, it was absolutely amazing, and I would never have been able to get that experience anywhere else. So thank you, Dr. Martha Dow. Thank you, Chelsea Clausen. And thank you, team at CHASI, for being so amazing and supportive and being the reason that we got to go in the first place.
Absolutely. Well said, Miranda.
Thank you.
And shout out to Emma for hosting this, because we're a very unserious bunch.
Yes.
She had to wrangle the rats today.
Yeah.
And for carrying the answers in the tour.
Yeah.
in Victoria.
Absolutely. I'm embarrassed of my performance.
We're researchers, but we didn't do our research for that.
Well, I definitely mobilized knowledge there. That's probably why I'm part of the KMT. I can't research my way out of a paper bag unless it's a personal passion project.
Also, would like to acknowledge that Emma's first ferry ride was on our way to Victoria.
Yes.
Well, not my first ferry ride ever, but my first BC ferries ride. And definitely my first ferry ride in some years, I will say that much.
But she didn't get to experience the iconic ice cream machine, so
But she
we'll have
did
to do
get a
another
pirate
trip.
pack of
Did get a pirate
Chippelo's
pack.
Pirate pack.
Pirate
which is
pack.
all-
Pirate prac, yes, I did get a pirate prac.
It was also Jeff's first time in Victoria.
Oh, I did
Yeah.
not.
It's
Oh.
just like you've lived here all your life, and
Man, shout out to Jeff.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not shaming you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Good for you for expanding your boundaries.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who are in the room right now who are there. You're also amazing. You just aren't in the podcast. But we love you anyway.
All right, I think we're about done here, right? Time to get out. Thank you so much for your time, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, y'all. The rest of our Knowledge Mobilization team includes Jeff Mijo Birch, Kristen Benz, Andrea Morehouse, Frankie Fowle, Mara Penner, and Sharon Strauss. Our theme music is by Chris Micah. The director of CHASI is Dr. Martha Dow. I'm Emma Hones. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time here on the CHASIcast. The CHASIcast is a production of the Community Health and Social Innovation Hub at the University of the Fraser Valley in Abbotsford, British Columbia.